All right, guys, we are back with day 47. So I've been live streaming, not necessarily for 47 days straight. I've been taking breaks every 10 days or so. But what started out as just talking or committing to getting on live for 5 days has turned into almost 50 days. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to again move the goalpost, and I'm going to say that I've hit a milestone at 50 days. I don't say 100 days. I say 50 days, right? Because I'm basically at the end of that marathon. Then when I hit 50, I'll just create another goal. Um, in tech, we call that stretch goals, right? But in reality, what it is another word for it is under promising and over delivering. But really, it's about the idea that we get to decide in this game, in this simulation that we're moving around in, um, that what the points are. Just like you're playing a video game, what constitutes a point? What constitutes winning? What constitutes a boss? What constitutes a level? Right? It's a weird type of game where you design that. You're designing the game, and the game is designed to be modified as well. And you're also playing the game at the same time, right? All right. So I am on chapter 59 of Shift Your Mind, Shift the World. And I keep looking over here because my sort of production display is on my second monitor. So, all right, chapter 59 is titled You Can Be Efficient and Effective. I was talking to a good friend the other day. He's a public speaker and a trainer. I asked him how this day was going, and he said he had just spent a couple hours doing something he really hated to do. I asked what that was, and he said, I was gathering all my receipts from my recent trip, all these little cab driver receipts and little scraps of crumpled paper, and I was typing up an expense report. I'm going to send it to the client so I can be reimbursed. I said, okay, well, how much does that make you? If you spend 2 hours on that, what's your return on that? And he said, well, it's almost nothing. I don't really make anything. What it does is it sort of balances things out. What I've already paid out in expenses, so I really make nothing. So why do you do that? Why do you spend 2 hours of your time, your precious time, when you are a very creative individual? You bill your time out at a very high fee, and yet there are 2 hours being spent where almost nothing comes back. He stopped and thought. He didn't realize that he was doing that. He always assumed that he had to file his own receipts, but a work at home bookkeeper could handle all of it for him for less than 5% of what he can make in those 2 hours if they were spent on high return creative activity rather than low return busy work. There are many options that open themselves to you once you commit to a business life of high return. You can raise your fee so that your client just pays a single fee covering all expenses. So you don't have to do a single billing for expenses. That's the way I do it. It's much simpler. The clients even like it better. I knew a husband and wife team that had an architectural firm. They made a great deal of money. They were very bright. They were wonderful architects. They worked on the East Coast in a seaside community city where they had built their own little business up from nothing. But they couldn't shake their money fear and the irrational behavior that it caused. So on the weekends, they would both go in and clean their office and vacuum and dust. They did all the cleaning of the office themselves to save money. And so I said, is that something you just love? Is that your ideal scene for enjoying the weekend? Do you do it as a kind of Zen meditation? They said, no, it's just that it's a way to save some money. I had to scratch my head, and I said, my goodness, how much do you really save by doing that yourself? Oh, these cleaning firms cost a lot. Money fear had knocked their thoughts out of proportion. I tried to explain it to them, to free them up. Let's say you decide to work 4 hours on a weekend. Nothing wrong with that if you want to. What if, instead of cleaning your office for those 4 hours, you made it a point to meet with a major client every Saturday morning, serve them breakfast in the office, and review past and future projects? If they did that, they could move their business forward financially in a really major way instead of saving a couple $100s. They could open themselves up to the possibility of millions in the future by creating deeper and more collaborative relationships with their clients. After 2 weekends of trying this, they were delighted by the positive results for their business. It's called high return activity. Most people aren't even aware of the difference or how many hours they waste in low return, hypnotic, automatic work. As I look at my last week's activities, I might see that I wasted a lot of hours answering email. Ding ding, there's another email. I'll answer it. I'll answer it. Answering emails, taking phone calls, doing this, doing that. I waste so much time when I don't see it. Here's what's really amazing. If for some medical reason I had been forced to work only half days a week, I would have been more productive, not less, because that would have woken me up to efficiency. It would have made time precious. Notice what happens when you go on a vacation. The day before you go on a vacation, you get so much done. You get about 3 days' work done in one day. Why? Because the 80-20 rule kicks in. You now know that you are going to be gone for 2 weeks. So you have to do only the most important things, the 20% of actions that bring you 80% of your results. The other little things that usually take all your time, you just delegate those out. Will you do this call for me? I'm going to be gone. To become wealthy, the trick is to delegate those things out now. So every day is the day before vacation. Shift from being busy with the trivial to being focused on your most important work. Now, what happens when you make that mind shift? The world shifts in response. The world is like your shadow on a sunny day. Make your move and see what the shadow does. It will always move with you. The world out there is the same. Chapter 60, Shifting Out of the Unreal. One of the most important ways to shift the mind on our way to success is to shift from what's unreal to what's real. When you are working with what's really real, you can get to success so much faster. Imagine you're walking down the narrow road toward home, and there's a boulder in the road, and you see it and say, I've got to take a side road now. I've got to do something different. I've got to go through the woods to get to my home because there's a boulder in the road. Now you're in the woods, plowing through the thicket, trying to find an opening to get back home, to success, to wherever you want to go in life. But what if that boulder in the road were not real? What if the boulder was just an illusion? Something you thought was real, it looked real, everyone said it was real, and because you believed it was real, you are in the woods pushing through the poison ivy, the poison oak, trying to get back home. Absurd example? Well, it happens every day. We are sidetracked by imaginary fears every day. That's why reality is so important to work with, because the real road to success is often so clear we can't sell it. So we stop and take side roads. And soon that's called being busy or fighting fires or handling big problems. Most people do this. They are overwhelmed by their distractions and they become too busy to succeed. What if, instead of busy, I were focused on a relaxed but paradoxically energetic way? Focused, locked in, excited, enthusiastic, one pointed. I got a call the other day from a person who was apologizing to me for missing a phone appointment he had with me. He said, I'm sure you understand that a person like me, running businesses that I run, is very busy all the time, and I'm so sorry. This time of year, it's very busy, and I'm sorry I missed the call. You probably run into that a lot, and you're probably even more busy than I am. I said to him, no, I am not busy. And he was stunned, and he waited a minute and said, what do you mean by that? I said, busyness for me used to be my story, but it was a surrender to all the things that seemed to call to me throughout the day. It was a cowardly white flag of surrender. I was throwing down my weapons and saying, okay, take me in, put me behind bars, torture me. I was allowing every single thing that called to me to take me away from what it is I really wanted to do. And yet I called it being busy. I explained how 1 hour of uninterrupted time is worth any 2 hours during my day. I shifted in my mind with this realization. When I'm selecting the things I'm going to focus on today, deliberately, based on the road I want to be on, then I can say no a lot more easily. I'm more relaxed saying no because I have already chosen something else. When I say yes to what it is I have chosen to do, no comes easily. When something comes up or puts its head in the door and says, got a minute? I can easily say, no, I don't now, instead of what I used to say. What did I used to say when an interruption poked in? Okay, yeah, sure, come on in, have a seat. What is it? What's going on? Well, I'm kind of upset with Sally. She said she would do this report, but it's like before. She has no respect for my department. And pretty soon, my whole life was pulled into the gratuitous drama of other people's victim stories. Boulders on the road, all false. The road was actually clear. There was a clear, reality based path to success all along. All right, guys, that's it for today. Yeah, I should have put up I didn't put up my little banner. Yeah. Next time. All right, you guys.